microphone moving.
Oh, it's pulling it towards me. Hi, everyone.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to Moksha Grace Moment of Presence with Moksha Grace Coaching and Krista and Michelle Barone, because that's me. Smooth, right?
Hot
So
start.
smooth.
Super hot start into today's show. My goodness gracious.
Let's start that over. Hi, everyone. Welcome to Moment of Presence. Thank you for being here.
And you are?
I am Michelle Barone. I am the owner, CEO, and head coach of Moksha Grace Coaching. And I coach people on emotional liberation, meaning learning about yourself, massive self awareness, self responsibility, accountability, and how to apply that to your life that makes your life easier. So, easier to manage, smoother, calm the chaos. Ooh, I like that. And you are?
And I'm Krista. I work in operations as well as coaching clients to really get the most out of their business.
You do, and you do it well.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that. And today we're talking about what are you planting right now. If you haven't noticed, this kind of carries over a theme like last time. Talking about, planting and growing and sprouting and all of those lovely things that are going to take us right into spring.
Well, and to go backwards, January helped us clear what no longer fits. So we were kind of tending the soil. Is that tending the soil? I think.
Tending to the garden, I don't know if you tend the soil. I guess technically you could.
Yeah, we're tending the garden. We're yeah. So that's what we did. Getting rid of the stuff in the soil that might hurt the new seeds that we're going to be planting. And February is all about what we're actually putting in the ground. So, the analogy with planting the seeds is like intentions. What your energy? What are you putting out into your world? What kind of environment are you creating for yourself and the people that you love? How are you showing up? So these are all different sayings, bumper stickers that you can think about these topics. So yeah. So last week we talked about letting people grow in their own season, kind of allowing them and ourselves to just grow at our own pace. We can't dictate other people's journey. We have to mind our own journey. And that brings us into part of this because, I don't know, before we go gardening, we should kind of decide if we're in a good energy to go gardening. Is the temperature right outside? Is the sun shining? Where are we going to plant those seeds? Do they need shade? Do they need sun? And so if you put that into your own personal life, we may say we want to be loved unconditionally, but are we loving unconditionally? Are we putting out that we're angry all the time, or are we putting out that we're embracing life and what it brings to us and we're just kind of going with the flow? How do you want to live? How do you want to show up so that you can live that way?
So the pre-planning.
Right.
So actually that's the exact topic of today. What are you planting right now? Then we move into
You can plant a seed, but you don't get to dictate how fast it grows.
This one trips me up all the time. This is where I lose patience.
Why?
Because I want things now. I don't want to have to wait. I don't like gray area. I don't like open-ended timelines. This is where I probably have the biggest struggle with this concept.
So in the Willy Wonka world, you would be...
No, not Veronica.
I want it now.
I mean, yes, but not like that. She was poorly behaved.
Yes. And sometimes it's and we know this, it's about the journey. It's not about getting to the end. You're not going to take your canoe and put it at the bottom of the river. You're going to actually enjoy the journey and see the sights along the way.
Yes.
And when you don't do that and you're racing to get to the end, you miss out on a lot.
Mm-hmm.
I
Yeah.
remember my mom used to say to me all the time, don't grow up so fast. Like, just enjoy being a teenager. Just enjoy, in your 20s. Just enjoy where you're at. Don't try to rush ahead.
Yeah, I usually try to remind myself of this, especially when I'm like super busy with work and I'm like waking up, working, eating dinner, going to bed, waking up, working, and like the same cycle over and over again. I'll be like, oh my gosh, a week has passed and I don't even remember doing anything else other than work and sleep. I
Yeah.
gotta remember to enjoy the journey. There's always more work, there's always more everything,
Hmm.
but we only have right now.
And sometimes it's just a subtle little shift. It could be, uh, you know, going outside and grounding, which I know that you do a lot in the mornings, going outside, looking up at the sun, letting the sun rays hit you. It could be switching up your routine, how and when you do things, and just shifting them just a little so that it's a little bit different, because that sets an intention for the rest of your day. um,
Yeah.
Meditating in the morning, or maybe taking a break in the middle of the day to, again, go outside, hug a tree, whatever it is, but dividing it up into little pieces, into chunks, may be something that helps you be more present or be in that moment instead of rushing to get to the end of the day.
Yeah, sometimes you have to plan it out. I mean, I know the other day I was swamped with work and I realized after maybe it was the second or third day, I went, I don't think I've been outside in 72 hours. And so I literally woke up. First thing I did was I went outside, I stood in the sun. I was like,
Mm-hmm.
I haven't been even out of the house in days. How is that even possible? So
Yeah.
sometimes you even have to like kind of plan it and be like, okay, I'm gonna go wake up tomorrow morning. I'm gonna go do this, this,
Mm-hmm.
and this. But back to this topic, you can plant a seed, but you don't get to dictate how fast it grows. That is literally life. That's life
Yeah.
itself. That is how everything works. We can ask for stuff. We can't control how it comes to us, and we can't control on what timeline.
And that's the thing, right? I mean, a good analogy of this would be if somebody asks to borrow money,
Hmm.
right? And you do it. You agree. Okay, I'll give you $100. Are you doing it because you want to feel important or above them? Are you doing it because you want to help? Are you doing it with the expectation that you're going to get paid back? Or are you doing it from the goodness of your heart? And if they pay you back, cool. And if they don't, that's okay too. At least you were able to help somebody. And that's where setting the intention, that's why that's so powerful and so good. Because if you're setting the intention of, well, I'll give them this money, but they better not use it for junk. Well, that's not your place to tell them how to, if you're agreeing to give them the money, you can't dictate how they're going to spend it, because then you're doing it from a more selfish perspective versus, here, you need help, let me just help you.
And just to be clear, you're talking about a casual loaning of money, not we write out an agreement that is for this purpose and to be paid back
Right.
to the state. You're talking about a friend saying, "Hey,
Completely
I need
different.
$400. Can you?" Very
Right.
different things.
Right. Yeah, I'm talking about like family, friends, that kind of thing. Loaning somebody, something that you have, and then getting mad if they never return it. I mean, you can feel disappointed, but you ultimately made the choice to hand this over. And if it was so important, then maybe not loan it out. And so it's always better to be surprised than disappointed. And I don't mean set your standards low. I just mean be open to whatever comes about. Because it may turn out that you get something even better down the road. And so you had to make space for it. And by loaning something out, you made space.
Right on.
It's all about not judging, not expecting, but just being in the present moment with another person or with yourself or with a situation, and allowing it to be for a moment before you respond, or before you definitely don't want to react. So you definitely want to take a moment and ask yourself some questions. How am I responding? Am I responding from a place of anger, judgment, guilt, or am I doing it just because I want to, because it's my choice to?
Yeah,
And it just totally changes the tone of whatever you're doing.
absolutely. Absolutely. Let's see here. Moving along, we have a couple points we want to get through today. All
Would
right,
you
to
like
tie
to?
us into the moment connection feels conditional, the soil hardens. I already know, but go ahead.
No, please.
No, run us through this one.
So it's kind of like the loaning of the money. If you say, I'm going to loan you this money, but this is what you have to do for me, that's when the other person's going to be, if it were me, I'd be like, forget it. Like, I'm good. Um, and
Let's do a relationship based example
okay,
because I think loaning money is something that I feel like most people don't do, especially in today's day and age. No one has the extra means for it. So why don't we do this in like a relationship type
give
of
me an example.
um moment connection feels conditional, soil hardened. I'm only doing these dishes because I want to feel superior to you because you don't do the dishes. Or I love you, but only because you drive me to the airport when I need you to.
Ooh,
Or we're only friends because I don't have anyone else to be my friend and you'll pay for my lunches when we go out.
yeah.
Probably
Ew,
not a super
yuck.
fun relationship.
No, no, not at all. And it's such a great point because again, we're bringing in.
Wait, one more. I like you, but only when you behave in this specific little way.
Ooh. That sets people up for failure
Yeah.
because nobody is going to meet your requirements or your standard, right? Because they're yours. It's your expectation, your standard, and it's not someone else's. I'm so glad you said that because I'm in this book club. I love my book club. I love everyone in the book club. I feel like I found a tribe. And we read the book The Go Giver, and one of it's universal laws, and we've gone through those before, and one of them is about this. It doesn't say it this way, but it's wanting to give value, wanting to be there for others, and when you do that, you're providing value to others, you're providing that quality, but and you'll get in return, right? You'll just receive in return. However, if you're giving from your perspective of what quality is versus what their expectation of quality is, there's an unalignment. There's an unalignment. And so you're never going to be valued because you're basing your value on your ideas, not the other person's. And so you have to make sure that you're aligned in your match. Sorry, go ahead.
No, no, no. I was going to say that's one of my favorite questions ever is what does that look like to you?
Yes. Yes.
Hey, can you go do X, Y, and Z for me? Sure. What exactly does that look like to you? Hey, can you make me a list of X, Y, and Z? Totally. What does that look like to you? Hey, I'd love if you could support me in X, Y, and Z way. Of course. What does that look like to you?
Mm-hmm. It was funny because I've been thinking about this one specific piece a lot lately.
Hmm.
And what came into my mind last night was if somebody gave you $50 or $100 and said, go grocery shopping for me. If I go and just go to any grocery store, I'm going to come back with a ton of food, right? A ton of stuff.
For $100?
Well,
I know, I'm playing with you.
but any grocery store,
Sure.
right? Walmart, whatever. But if I decide to go to my standard and I go where there's going to be fresh produce and organic stuff and no, non-GMO and all, $100 is not going to get the same amount of stuff.
Hmm.
And so when I walk through the door, I'm only going to have maybe one bag instead of like 3 or 4. And that person's going to be disappointed, even though I know what I got was quality. And it was out of love because I want them to be healthy. And so you got to make sure that you're on the same page,
Mm-hmm.
because your idea of quality is going to be different from someone else's. So make sure that, your values, your standards are similar.
Absolutely.
Because again, it goes back to expectations, and expectations is just a fancy word for judging.
Speaking of which, plant the seed, then step back. Hovering blocks sunlight.
I love this one. This
Mm-hmm.
is so good. Yeah, go for it. I want to hear from you too.
You're the coach here. You tell us.
Well, if you plant the seed, and you drop some knowledge on someone and they heard you, maybe they didn't hear you, that doesn't mean that you should stand there and reiterate it over and over again every time you see them and push it onto them or try to convince them. It's dropping the knowledge and leave them wanting more. Leave them wanting to ask questions. Leave them to ponder whatever it is that you're trying to talk to them about or give them some additional wisdom on. But that doesn't mean they're going to absorb it. It doesn't mean that they're ready for it. But if you stand over them and you hover, are they applying it? Are they doing it? Did they take my advice? Well, now you're just being one of those like helicopter moms or, helicopter wife, friend, whatever you want to call it. You're hovering. And no one likes that.
I mean, nothing can thrive under those
Most people.
conditions, but really what it comes down to is if you ask for it, you need to trust that it's going to happen and you have to let it go. I mean, that's the basis of everything Abraham Hicks talks about. If that's something that any of
Mhm.
you, pay attention to, is you plant the seed and then you let it go and you move on to something else and you just trust and know that whatever it is that you're asking
Mhm.
for, whatever seed that you're planting is going to sprout. But
Right.
literally, as far as like plants and seeds go, if you plant a seed and then it never gets sunlight,
Hmm.
it's never going to grow. It needs that sunlight, it needs that heat, it needs that the minerals in the ground in order for it to grow and be a healthy plant. Because that's the other thing is you could give it half sunlight and it might grow a little bit, but it's not going to thrive. The
Mm-mm.
only way for it to thrive is for it to get full. Well, okay, some plants require different levels of sunlight, but either way, it needs the appropriate environment for it.
Right.
And that's actually a really key piece too is you plant the seed, step back, don't hover, but that also doesn't mean don't do anything. So like if we just plant a seed, put it in full blast sunlight because that's what it's asking for, but then we never water it, it's not going to grow either. If
Right.
we put it in super acidic soil, not going to grow. If
Right.
we, aka toxic environment, aka not nourishing, whatever it is that we're
Hmm.
trying to, whatever it's related to, there's a lot of if there's little pests coming around and eating the leaves before they can grow, it's not
Yep.
going to thrive. All of these translate directly into our experiences. And I think it's so interesting that even last week we were talking about how nature our humans mirror nature so
Yeah.
closely, and we could take a lot of pages from nature, and this is another great example.
Hmm. And it's also about allowing others to come across how they can apply whatever knowledge you dropped on them, or maybe you just gave them an example, right? You're leading by example, living by example. We have to allow them to come into that knowledge on their own time, to absorb it on their own time. We can water the plant, but we can't yell at the roots and go absorb it, like grow, absorb it, do better, absorb the sunlight. We can just put it out there, but it's their journey ultimately, and they will apply it the way that they need to, and also how they interpret it as well.
Funny you should say that. Self leadership means tending to your own soil before critiquing someone else's.
Hell yeah. A big hell yeah on this one.
Please explain.
Well, isn't it isn't it just annoying when somebody calls you out on something, but yet they turn around and they're doing the same exact thing?
You have no idea.
Isn't it annoying when uh, someone comes at you, but they haven't done the work on themselves to understand who they are or what it means to be them and how they're it's not a matter of worrying about how they're perceived, right? Because you can't worry about how you're being perceived by everyone else.
Mhm.
However, you also want to show up in the tone that you're hoping that they're absorbing. So
Sure.
what does that look like? Do you want to show up and just be a jerk, or are you showing up with compassion and you want to lead strongly and you just really care about other people and you want to grow something? Um, so it's again, it's all intention setting, but you have to do that work for yourself first. No one can tell you what your intention is. No one can tell you what your values or your beliefs or even what your standard is. You have to know that. You have to get to know yourself so strongly that you and accept yourself for who you are. And that's even a bigger piece of this, because if you can't accept yourself, you're not going to be able to accept others or give them the space to be themselves and be authentic.
Yeah.
This one's a deep one, and it can go in so many different directions.
A couple things with that. A, what's that phrase? He who lives in a glass house should not throw rocks. Number one.
Do not throw
Um,
the first stone. Yeah.
yeah. Number two, um, I lost it. What did you just say before? What was the last thing you were saying? Um, getting yourself. What were you saying?
Uh, yeah, I totally just like lost it when you
I
asked.
think we both had some sort of like energy wave come through where our brains went. Bloop.
No one else can tell you what your values or your standards are.
Oh,
And
I remember what it was. Thank you. What I was going to say, yeah, say
we did
perfect.
it. We did it.
When there's something that we want to critique in others, there's two possible things that are
Oh, I know where you're going.
either A, it's something
Hmm.
so completely opposite of who we are that it drives us crazy, or the one that we never want to acknowledge and accept,
Right.
we too are the same way, do the same thing, act the same way, say the same thing. And it's actually a great point for us to recognize what we're doing ourselves that we just happen to be noticing in the other person and get bothered by it because our subconscious
Hmm.
knows that we do the same thing. Now, that's a very fine line and it requires discretion and self awareness. And you genuinely just have to be prepared to answer that question for yourself. Not something you have to go on a stage and talk about, something that you can do internally. Take the ego out of it and just say, am I noticing this and is it bothering me because it's something that I do too? Or is it genuinely the opposite of what I'm doing and that's why it bothers me? What is the reason here? And if it's something that you do as well and it's driving you crazy, what a great humbling moment the universe and God has provided you to be able to make an adjustment in your own behavior. And if it's not something that you do, what a wonderful opportunity that the universe and or God has put in front of you to be able to learn how to deal with that behavior, process it, let it go, and move on. Either way, thank you, Lord. Thank you, universe. Thank you, source. And then roll with what you need to do to take care of your own emotional upheaval about it.
I'm glad you got to that point because that's exactly what I was going to say is it's the mirror effect, and what we don't like about ourselves will generally show up in other people for us to stand face to face, seeing that mirror and then going, oh, I need to adjust myself. I need to check myself before I'm checking them. Because if they're judging me or I'm judging them, but I'm the same way, maybe a little bit different, ooh, yeah, this isn't good. And asking those questions, getting curious and asking, why is this showing up? Why is this person in my life? Why do we not get along? What is the lesson here? What am I supposed to gain from this? These are all the questions that you get to sit with and not look at it as a judgment or something to feel bad about, but thank you for giving me this lesson so that I can grow, be this, have the sunshine coming down, and I can grow and be the best version of myself, because I certainly don't want to make other people feel the way I'm feeling, like this person's making me feel. And
Absolutely.
so,
It's
yeah.
like testing the pH of the soil. It
Mhm.
doesn't have to be horrific for you to make a little correction. Oh my gosh, it reminds me of back in the day when you were doing sales calls for a coach, and I would review them for you. And the way I would always describe it is it's like an air traffic controller. You're not veering off course unless nobody's paying attention to it. Otherwise, it's just, hey, a little redirection. And that's what
Mhm.
these experiences are, is it's God, life, universe, again, plug in whatever phrase you want to use, just giving you little nudges, little redirections. Every experience we have are nudges and redirections. And what we choose to do with those is ultimately how it's going to impact our life and our path and the journey that we're on. But there's these little nudges. Honestly, we could even argue that it's our higher self giving us little
Mhm.
nudges of trying to get us back to who we really are, who we are at our
Yep.
core, who we are in our soul, bringing us back to that version of ourselves. We can totally choose to ignore it and keep going a different route, but it's those little nudges bringing us back to who our most genuine, authentic, loving, pure version of ourself is.
Right. And that's why when I'm working with clients, one of the first things I do with them is really help them understand what are your values, because not everybody has taken the time to really think about that. And if you don't know what you stand for, or how you're living your life, what is it based on, then you're kind of like a plastic bag blowing in the wind. So you have to know, so that way you can ground yourself in those values, and then it makes it easy to say yes or no to things that come up, right? So if something comes up and someone asks you to do something, well, does this fit my values? Is this what I stand for? And if no, you can say no without any regret, without guilt, without shame, without blame. You can just walk away because it's outside of your values, your little bubble. And it's okay to say no. No is a complete sentence, everybody. You can do that so that you can be a strong version for yourself and stick up for yourself. You want other people to stick up for you? How about you stick up for yourself first?
And on that note, bringing us back full circle, what are you planting right now? What are those thoughts that you're thinking? What are those things that you're saying? How are you behaving? What are you choosing to do
Mm-hmm.
each day? What are those actions you're choosing, the thoughts that you're choosing, the words that you're choosing?
Ooh, ooh, ooh.
Michelle,
Are you believing other people's stories, or are you finding out on your own? Are you doing your own research? Are you looking for answers on your own, or are you just going with the crowd? Because if you're just going with the crowd, then you don't know where that's leading you. And if you want to be in charge of your own life, then take charge of your own life. Yeah, that's huge.
absolutely.
So I think this is a lot today. Let's take some deep breaths, and then maybe we can just show those again, go over them real quick. We'll read them, and then we'll sign off.
I think we're probably good. I think we can leave it to 3 breaths.
All right. So let's pick a question. How are you showing up?
What are you
Do
planting
you
right now?
What are you planting right now? What are your values? Is your soil being tended? Take a deep breath, hold it, and then slowly exhale. We're not blowing out a candle. We're bringing ourselves into the moment of presence. Deep
On
breath.
the, on the second breath, what does your seedling need right now? Does it need
Ooh, that's a good
soil improved? Does it need more water, more sunlight?
one.
There's pests nipping at it. What does your seedling need at the moment?
Okay. Deep breath in. Even picture, what does it look like? And then slow exhale out.
Every time. can't help but yawn.
All right. And one more deep breath in, just because. Deep breath in. And another slow exhale. Good.
I hope everyone has a wonderful Valentine's Day this weekend. Either spending time with yourself or with someone that you love.
And if you have not joined the email list, please do that, the mailing list, because we will be sending out a newsletter tonight, tomorrow, and it will go out. And so you're going to want to grab that. There's going to be a great article that supports the last 2 weeks and really kind of drives this home before we move on. And I think it's tilling the soil. I think that's the word, tilling the soil, because next we're going to be moving into tending the garden.
Tilling means turning over. Tending would be tending. Yeah.
So, all right. Well, every day we get to wake up, and thankfully, God willing, we get to wake up and we get to choose. Are we going to have a good day or are we going to have a bad day? So choose wisely and have a good day. Have a good week and a great Thanksgiving. Valentine's Day. It must be because of my shirt. It's the plaid. It's the brown.
It's the plaid. Bye, guys.
Valentine's. See ya.